Game on.
Hey there, game gurus. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take another look here at the X-Arcade tank stick. I've already posted a video replacing the internals here with the GRS Super Sticks. I have two of them installed in here right now. What I want to show today is something in addition to that. So this right here is my GRS TOS gate switchers. This is a little device that's SandWar joystick compatible, of course works with my joysticks as well, that lets you electronically set the joystick from either 8-way joystick mode or a 4-way joystick mode. This is again designed for the SandWar and SandWar compatibles, and you can see it does add a little bit to the bottom of the joystick when you do put it on there. Now the Ikari Warriors sticks that are in here are based off of my GRS flight stick, which is a Tron style joystick. Now the gate switcher on that one is a little bit different. You can see that the servo is inverted. If I take the two side by side, you can see right here that it does take up quite a bit less space. So this should still fit inside here, and I'll even try it inside in a different video, putting in the original cardboard unit in there as well. But in this video today, I'm going to be installing two of these 2S GRS Tron style joystick gate switchers in the Ikari sticks, making sure they fit in here okay and well, obviously work. The cool thing about this is it can also be software controlled, and I know that in Batasara a couple of people are engaging applications to make sure that the GRS 2S gate switches here will automatically switch, if you so choose, for like Pac-Man or Burger Time or games that need it, and then go back to 8-way for games that need it as well. But without any further ado, let's get into trying out the GRS 2S flight stick gate switcher and this X-Arcade tank stick. Let's see how it goes. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to have to do is turn this thing over. I'm going to use the cardboard it came with again in the box to just turn this thing over. And it is a beast! We're going to turn this bad boy over. Make sure everything here is okay, nothing hits. So we're going to have to remove all these screws here. And I'll get started on that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the bottom cover off here. You can see everything that's here. There's still some room to work with. Now you can see this is the original GRS 2S gate switcher, and this is used for SandWar joysticks. But you can see that it does take up more height, and it obviously would not fit inside here. But the one for the Tron stick and my flight stick, actually the servo gets inverted. It goes the other way. So I'm going to take this out of the way just for a moment. And you get an idea here. When I'm going to put this in, let's say I want to put it in, say this way. You can see it will go down, and it's still going to be plenty of height to still close the unit. But what we need to do first is, I do need to disconnect the wire here for the rotation top on both the controllers over here, and take off the current circular gates. Now we do include a circular gate, a 4-way and an 8-way in the kit, but we're going to be removing these because we can't use them when I put in the electronic gate switcher. So the first thing we have to do is carefully remove the switch here for the rotation stick. I'll pull this right out, like so. Take this one out on this side. And I have to repeat the same thing on this side again. Just be careful, because out of all the wires, this will be the most delicate wire to remove. Okay, we got those two removed. So now we're safe to remove the actual gates that are currently installed on here. Just got to push these out on the sides and remove it carefully. And pull it up and away. Won't be using these because we'll be using electronic ones, so we take that one out of the way. And we'll do the same thing with this guy here. The wire is disconnected. Just push his little pins up and get it out of the way. Like so. And now you're going to figure out how you want to position your GRS 2S flight stick servo right here. And I'm just going to, again, got to make sure the wire goes through here. The servo faces up towards the top of the unit. Get these things out of the way. And you can see I got plenty of clearance here. So all I got to do is just press it down to lock it in place. And that's it. So now we're going to just reconnect our Ikari Warriors wire here. Put it back in place. And we have to still connect our servo to our board, but the first thing we want to do is obviously put this in place. You can see right here, there is plenty of room here for the bottom cover to go on, and there's plenty of room outside. Now we're going to obviously want to get these wires away from the gear because we don't want them to be damaged. Now the good thing about it is this is smooth in here, so it won't affect the small wire here going in for the actual joystick. But give me 1 second. I got to get my other servo to get over to there, so I'll be right back. Okay, I have my second one right here, and I'm going to face it the opposite way as this servo here. So I'm going to make sure it goes through the center for the rotation switch, and we'll straighten this out. I'm just going to put this right down here. Make sure no wires are getting pinched. That's important. You don't want any pinched wires. Just line up our holes. And then press it down into place. Just like that. And now we have to also connect this back into the harness and get this thing out of the way here. We'll need that in a minute. And make sure you're careful with these wires. Okay, so we have the two power gate switches in here. Next thing we need to do is take these two wires and connect it to the control board. Now the control board is in the primary kit, and it looks like this little guy right here. This is the board right here. And this can control up to 4. We're going to use 2, but we're going to make sure we have them both in an area that will reach across. So I'm going to put one over here on this one, and one over here on this one. Then we have to find a place to mount it. Now, we'll also have to supply power. Now, in theory, you can probably tap power somewhere in here, but for just the purpose of this review, I'm going to have a separate cable coming out in the back. But you can honestly take all these cables, have one USB cable coming out, putting a small USB hub in here, and doing it that way. Maybe there'll be another video. Today I'm just trying to show you the easy way to just get this all set up initially. So let me get this thing mounted, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you see I have my control board here. I'm running 5 volts out right now through an open hole on here. Again, probably at some point I'm going to put a USB hub right here, and I'm going to plug everything in here to the one USB hub. Now just a single cable coming out. But again, this is a prototype unit. I'm really showing this thing off, showing how you can do it. So I have all the individual cables going out right now. And then you have your one servo. Again, any one of these connectors here it can go onto. The brown is your ground, and then your orange is your signal. The orange is your 5 volts, and then the red is your signal. Again, brown is ground. So we put them on the appropriate connectors on here. It doesn't really matter which one. Whatever one works for you is fine. It could take up to 4 once again. I'm only going to use these two. And that's just where you're going to put it. And I can't put it on top of here because obviously I wouldn't be able to put the top on. But there's more than enough room for me to take it and put it down in an open area right down here. I'll get another shot so you guys can see it a little bit later. You kind of see it in the video right now. Just an open area right here. So I'm going to secure this and I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see we have everything pretty much connected here. We have our new gate switchers on here. We have our spin top cable going out, and it's out of the way. It won't be interfered with in any way, shape, or form here. We have our main board set up right down here. I'll tilt this a little bit more so you can kind of see it. See if I can do this without breaking anything. Got the main board secured down here, and we have our cables going into the motherboard to control the servos. Now the next thing we need to do, we have one more step. We need to connect this up. Now this looks like the mode and way button, but before it became a mode and way button, it was the 4 and 8 way gate switcher for this board. So we need to find a spot where this is going to go. And I think I know where I want it to go. Over in this corner here, I'll flip this thing upside down, there's now an unused red button. You can see this red button right there. Now it is a little bit on the small side. I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger. This is where I'm going to put the new button that will switch the gates between the 4 and 8 way mode. Now again, we have the USB cable coming over here. It's USB A, and if this is plugged into a, just power, it'll power it, but it's plugged into a PC, Pi, or the Viper, it should automatically switch the gates depending on the game if that is so set up. But for right now, let me get this thing turned over, get this out of here, and put in my new button and get it connected to the main board. I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to get this button out of here. Okay, now I got this unscrewed. Now it's just to push this thing out and get this out of the way. I'm not going to use this button here. Put it away for another project. Now we need to get this fitting in here, but it's not going to, whoops, it's not going to fit in directly. The hole is not big enough. So I'm going to have to mark this hole a little bit bigger and widen it a little bit to fit this in. But this is where I want it to go, so I'll be back once I widen this hole. It's going to take me a few minutes to do that, but I will get it done, and I'll be back. So it only took about literally a minute to just Dremel this a little bit larger. I just sanded it around the sides a little bit. And you can see now my gate switcher one is fitting in just perfectly. So I'm just going to lock this in place with a nut at the bottom, and then we'll get it wired up. Okay, once we have our 2-in-1 button set in here, we simply use this cable here to connect this button to our main board over here. So I'm just going to put this in like so. Very easy to do. Just go from this side. And of course we have to route this in a nice way. So, and it looks like it'll just, look at that, it just makes it. Can't beat that. So I'm going to route this thing underneath, I think, just to keep everything out of the way and away from the gears of the switcher itself. And you can't beat that for $1. It just makes it right there. That's it. So I'm going to plug this in, just test out the switching mechanism, and then we're going to close this thing up. So let me get some power over here. I tell you, we can see they're both initialized. Right now they're both in the 8 position mode. If I press the button, they switch to 4. 8, and then 4. You're in 8 position, and then 4 position. Okay, at this point in time, you have to put the cover back on, put the screws back on, and we can give it a try. Okay, the machine's all sealed up right now. You can see Burger Time's playing in the background. I'm in the red mode, which means I'm in the 8-way direction. So the GRS Ikari stick is moving in the 8 directions. Now the gate switcher that's in here is based off of the GRS flight stick gate restrictor. So the TOS flight stick gate restrictor is slightly different than my Sanwa TOS gate restrictor. The Sanwa one actually will lock it to 4. So 8 directions or 4 directions. You only register either 8 or 4 directions in the game. Now this is, and this one here is based off of my Tron or my flight stick controller. Now the gate restrictor in that is designed like it was in the arcade Tron. So in Tron, you did have up, down, left, and right, but it did still have diagonals. They were kind of softened or forcibly pushed you in up, down, left, and right position. So in Tron, like in Light Cycles, you wanted 4-way, but in the other parts of the game, you wanted 8-way. And it was really an 8-way stick, but there was some rubberized bottom that kind of restricted the other gates. That's how this works as well. So when I go here to blue mode, I can go left to right, up and down. Now the diagonals are there, but they are softened or closed in. So when you're trying to move in a direction, you can see it's going to force me up or force me down in these directions. So the machine can still register 8 directions, but when you're playing the game, you're going to be kind of guided to those 4 directions. When you're playing Burger Time, you see in a minute how well that works. But I just wanted to let you know the difference between my Sanwa or GRS TOS gate restrictor, which really does either 8 directions, like this, or actually only lets you go in the 4. It actually really blocks out those diagonals. Here, when I'm in the blue mode, it can still register a diagonal, but when you're playing the game, it's going to force you in the directions you want to go, and it really helps you out in these games like Pac-Man and Burger Time, which I'll show you right now. Okay, added a credit here to Burger Time. I'm in the blue mode. This is now the restricted 4-way mode. Again, remember, red is 8. I don't want to play this game in the 8-way mode, so I'll go to blue. I'm in some of the restricted modes, and it's going to help guide me through the directions in Burger Time. Let's give it a try. Of course, I am standing on the slide, which means it's not ideal, but you'll get the idea. Uh-oh, uh-oh. So again, as I try to go up, down, left, and right, the gate restrictor is guiding me to those positions. Oh, I'm in trouble. Oh, I'm in trouble. Makes this type of game much easier to play when you can actually lock it and get guided to where you need to go versus having 8 ways and it being kind of confused. Am I going to make it? Ooh, I made it. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ah! Ha-ha! Try doing that with an 8-way stick. So you can see, even though it's not locking out the directionals, it works pretty much just as one, especially in a game like this. Oh, you son of a gun! Uh-oh, 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 ah! Okay, so that's it. Everything's done. It's not a hard install. The TOS GRS Tron joystick or flight stick gate switcher clips in very easy to obviously the flight stick or also the Ikari Warriors joystick. Now, one thing to note about the GRS TOS gate switcher for the flight stick is it's not going to completely lock out the diagonals. This was designed for the Tron or flight stick for playing games like Tron and Tron, so you can lock out the light cycles, kind of like the arcade did. It kind of blocked out the 4-way to a degree. This won't completely lock out those, but what it does do, it helps guide you into the up, down, left, to right 4 ways you would do for like Pac-Man and Burger Time. So if you have this stick as your primary stick, this will help block those out. And we're also putting a software patch in, a firmware upgrade for these sticks, where you can actually go from a true 8-way to a 4-way joystick and also block out diagonals. So just something to note, if you are playing games like Burger Time and Pac-Man, this will absolutely help you go to the up, down, left, right positions. But again, it doesn't completely lock out the diagonals the same way the TOS GRS Sanwa clone joystick does. That one actually does lock out those directionals. You only have the either the 8 directions or physical 4 directions. This has a little bit of a soft play, but you can tell, like right now, I'm in the red mode. I have complete freedom to go in all 8 directions. When I go to the 4 mode, you can feel the restrictions here. It kind of guides you in those spots, but you still can get diagonals. Again, for games like Tron in the arcade, that's kind of how the joystick was. So that's it for today's video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. It takes a second for you, but it really helps out my channel and the algorithms. It means a lot. And like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But as fun as this project was, and I do love tinkering with these type of things and playing games, just remember it's just that. It's games. Nothing's more important than your family and friends. So make sure you take a moment today to tell your family and friends that you love them, because tomorrow is never promised. But in between those times, game on!
Are you looking for that arcade experience at home? If you don't have the space for a full-size arcade in your house or endless funds, then you need the GRS Build-A-Cade. It's arcade quality without the arcade price, from someone you can trust. The GRS Build-A-Cade is a very simple, easy to assemble, 1/6 scale arcade computer you can build yourself. You can buy interchangeable controllers for every gaming option you need to play the games the way they're meant to be played. You can also design your own artwork or purchase artwork separately to make your GRS Build-A-Cade look like the machine of your dreams. The GRS Build-A-Cade is also the only home system STEM certified. Come see what all the YouTube creators are raving about. GRS Build-A-Cade.
Game on.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.